First, an excerpt from A Taste of Joy and Liberty. The Son of Man was a master in the art of living. Jesus was fresh, alive, down to earth, imaginative, original, spontaneous, creative, vividly expressive, good humored, and joyous. The Lord is my strength and my song, said Isaiah. Strength in life does come primarily from being centered in God, and the very thought of God as our song is so beautiful that I refuse to come up with a comment on it. In the practical arts, Jesus was skilled in carpentry. In the fine arts, he put his unforgettable touch on storytelling. His parable of the talents portrays the results of putting our gifts to use in a wise and profitable way for the kingdom of God. Here's the divine approval and a promise. Well done, good and trustworthy servant. You have been trustworthy in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Joy's, Jesus, the joyful master, gave us gifts. To begin with, his life and teachings. One way to enter into the joy of the master is to study his parables and create some of our own to use. The fun arts include play, sports, and humor. A merry heart has a sense of humor. This is worth emphasizing because it is easy to overlook this flavor of joy in Jesus. Many of us are familiar with the phrase, wolves in sheep's clothing. But in the first century, it would have been comical for his hearers to envision it for the first time. Jesus said, "Why do you see the speck in your neighbor's eye, but do not notice the log in your own eye?" Exaggeration carried to impossible extremes is a mark of comedy. Taken out of context, the funniest of all Jesus' images was his criticism of the Pharisees, who strain out a gnat but swallow a camel. Some of his enemies were extremely careful not to consume even the slightest bit of food that was forbidden as unclean. But these same Pharisees, not all, some of the Pharisees, grossly polluted themselves by ignoring spiritual essentials. In some settings, humor as a means of critique makes people receptive to lessons that are otherwise unwelcome. Next, a tidbit from my Living in Truth, Beauty, and Goodness. The Great Challenge of Artistic Living. The next sections show how to tackle a great challenge posed by two attractive but seemingly impossible utopian ideals. The first ideal is that a person's life can become a total work of art. This ideal was championed during the late 19th and early 20th centuries by the arts and crafts movement. Artisans responded to the benumbing effects of mass production by creating handcrafted artifacts for daily living. The movement spread the idea that labor could be joyous and devoted to producing something beautiful in a spirit of cooperation. People from across the political spectrum also had a vision of architecture that would transform homes and the built environment generally into an integrated, encompassing artwork. The second ideal is called being in the zone. To researchers, it is known as flow. For example, a high-skilled athlete or mountain climber faces a steep challenge right at the level that calls forth his or her best. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the leading researcher and theorist of this phenomenon, has written, "The main dimensions of flow are recognized in more or less the same form by people the world over. Intense involvement, deep concentration, clarity of goals and feedback, loss of a sense of time, lack of self-consciousness, and transcendence of a sense of self, leading to an intrinsically rewarding experience. The goals are clear and feedback is immediate, so the person can continually adjust to change. It is an experience of effortless action. Csikszentmihalyi envisions more than feats of unsustainable excellence. He envisions the flourishing of entire cultures. Read more in the blog post.